Hey guys, welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be reading our Urban Survival Manual. This is titled Real Urban EDC Kit. Alright. Surviving the city is not like trying to survive in the wild. In some ways, it's worse. Prepare for most common types of emergencies first. We are a long way from apocalypse. However, if you can't be armed, be armored. Non-permissive environments, declining cities, out of control population on the street, gun control laws and gun-free zones, alright? For all these reasons, consider wearing thin, concealable body armor. And look into bulletproof vehicles. Alright, a real urban EDC preparedness kit. Alright, you guys, your line one is our top 5. And what is that? Our top 5 C's of modern urban everyday prep. Number 5, cover. Cover story and coverage. Coverage is insurance, alright? You want to be decked to the gills with your insurance. You want to have your passport on you as well as your driver's license, alright? You also want to have cash. How much? 1 to 2K. Alright, and also consider crypto. Alright, credit card. Alright, this is for emergencies only, guys. You want to have a line of credit from $2,000 to $5,000 that's going to get you a plane ticket, rent a hotel room, or a vehicle in a pinch. So, cover, cash, credit. And number 2 on our list of top 5 C's is concealment. You want to have all of these things concealed on you in a traveler's money belt. And we recommend the Bone Tactical Traveler's Money Belt. Alright? And number 1 on that list of top 5 C's of modern urban everyday prep is communications. And so that's your cell phone. And ideally, you'd also have a computer, a laptop. Alright? Guys, those are our top 5 C's. That's your line 1, alright? So if you're new here, just want to say welcome. You can check out our video on the top 5 C's. But today we're talking about our real urban EDC kit. Guys, so that's like your line 2 here, or whatever, you know. A backpack or shoulder sling, okay? A shoulder bag or a sling bag. Messenger bag style. Alright? And it's got to be gray, man. And what does that mean? No Molly, no outdoor vibe. Alright? Urban is bourgeois. Okay? But we don't mean Gucci either. Alright? Now, why does it make sense? We have another video on this, but why does it make sense to spend $250 on your EDC bag? Because you want to meet your insurance deductible. So if you spend $250 on the bag, everything in your bag is going to get replaced for the most part, or they're going to reimburse you for the cost to replace these items. It's going to vary and stuff, but should this bag get stolen, again, we don't actually recommend leaving a vehicle in your, a bag in your vehicle. Truck bags are out, unless you have a safe. If you have a safe that's like something that's lockable and secure, that's fine. Okay, you can leave some kind of in fact, we recommend a sling bag in there, you know. A sling bag doubles as, you know, maybe like the function of a chest rig, because you can't wear this kind of stuff in the city. So modify your plan. Also check out your insurance plan. Make sure you know how much your deductible is. Some of you might have a $500 deductible. You don't want to spend $500 on the bag. You want to spend a little bit more money every month on your insurance, okay, to cover that, to lower that deductible to $250. All right. Think Toomey, not Gucci. And one brand I use is Briggs and Riley. All right. So it should be functional as well for work or school. So again, your stylish but not fancy. All right. Now the backpack versus the sling is going to come down to your job, your career, okay, and that which informs your fashion. So if you're commuting to work every day, or you get dressed in a certain type of clothing Monday through Friday, like that's your EDC, you know. That's really like that's you know. Now if you're not you don't have a schedule, you're freelance, you work from home, that's different. Okay. If you wear a suit, conversely, you want to stick with the sling bag or messenger bag. All right, it's just that's going to be the fashion choice, and it's be you know, Urban EDC is very much about fashion. Okay, and that's why you have to understand it for its semiotics, its signs, its symbols, its relationship to that. That's a true gray man theory. But okay, let's get back to our topic here. Um, yeah, crossbody slings, they can double as bandoliers or mini chest rigs. Messenger bags are like Minutemen haversacks. You know, there's that same style, that hip bag. However, usually what's probably done is another attachment point at the hip. So, the difference in size here is when you're going to have a laptop or not. You know, a lot of city jobs, people bring their laptops, you're commuting with a laptop. If you got a 13-inch laptop, there's gonna be some slings for that. If you got the 15-inch, you're probably looking at a backpack, okay, or messenger bag. All right, so consider that, and gonna make a difference of where it lands on your body. Messenger bag is gonna land on your body different than the sling bag versus the backpack, right? So you can wear backpacks for everything that doesn't require a suit. Um, Listen, is it okay? Is it super fashion faux pas or whatever to wear the backpack with the suit? No, but generally speaking, you know, it's not. If you are going for a very if you're operating in a very sophisticated, wealthy environment, you don't want to do the backpack with the suit. Okay, maybe if you're a student, it's fine. But you probably get it. Anyways, that stuff is important though when operating in the modern, urban, everyday environment. So, um, again, no Molly. All right, no surplus or canvas. Right, you need that modern, urban, minimal look. No assault packs. No 2A industry logos. All right, no coyote or olive green. Um, Black or navy is acceptable. Uh, I I take it back about the olive or the coyote as well, but the coyote probably more than the olive green. There's probably some nice, elegant stuff in olive green. Um, if you have a very nice leather bag that's in that coyote tan, you know, that's also different. We're just talking about no surplus stuff, guys. You don't can't not not in modern urban everyday prep. Why? Because like you already just look like a prepper. People know it has the fashion has is a coded language, right? For us to understand, you know, people and how people express themselves. A lot of people take pride in their brands because it reflects what their identity, and of course, this is part of the mass marketing of it all. I'm not saying that there's anything completely wrong with that, but I mean, we'll grant you it has some problems. But we can't just can't stress enough about how fashion choices need to inform real urban EDC. Okay, and so what are the unique requirements of a real, urban EDC here? What goes in the bag? What does a real kit contain? All right. Well, this is not. I can tell you what it's not. It's not a bushcraft kit. No tarps, no cordage, no e-tools. All right. The only people walking around with stuff like that in the city are the people living on the streets. All right. No axe, no machete, a machete. Uh, maybe a fixed blade, but probably not. Uh, no folding stove, no fuel tabs, but maybe a jet boil. However, probably not. Okay? Real Urban EDC really doesn't have any use for like outdoor survival camping gear, guys. Not day to day life in the city. All right? Um, and we are talking about everyday life. All right? That's what we're talking about here. But you need to be prepared for emergencies and disasters, which we're going to get into here. But right now, we're just establishing, what a real Urban EDC kit is. What are the most common descriptions? What are the most common disruptions to everyday modern urban life? What do we really need to prepare for? Um, I've broken it down into a list of common, uncommon, and rare events, guys. All right? So that's how we're going to organize our understanding of this. They all range in frequency and severity. All right? And so to prepare, you need to be lightweight, versatile. You need to have quality components, and you need to be able to do this with a sense of style. I don't know how else to explain it. When you're really trying to survive in the modern city, right? You've got it. I've broken it. I'm surmising here. It's come down to these four things, guys. Why lightweight and versatile? Because travel and mobility is such a huge part of everyday urban life. You know what I mean? That's what it's really. That is what we are prepping for. So the quality and the style, right? Quality and style. Super important. Obviously, we've established that spending a certain threshold of money on your property it helps you meet a deductible if you need to make insurance claims. All right, guys. So, all right. So, common, uncommon, and rare events. First, we'll start with common events, guys. And this is things like what you see here: changes in weather, wind, rain, snow, right? Dust storms. I would say hurricanes, tornadoes, and blizzards are more uncommon events, as far as, the difference in preparation for those. But when you have just, your typical seasonal changes in weather, or, even in the summer, if you spend, or no matter when really, if you spend a lot of time indoors and you're dealing with air conditioning, right? You get cold. And so you want to have something lightweight, versatile, quality, a good combination of quality and style to have on you in your EDC, right? So we recommend a waterproof windbreaker with the hood, okay? And that should be one of those tuckable hoods that tucks into the collar, all right? So if you can find something like that, of course, on certain things, guys, it's perfectly fine to sacrifice quality or style in a certain way. And what I mean is, don't be afraid to shop at Big Five, all right, or Turner's, or whatever. If you can find stuff on sale, right? But what you want is make sure it's, or even Ross, right? If it's waterproof, if it's a windbreaker style, very thin, and it's got that hood, that's an optimal choice. Now, if it doesn't rain very much or at all, for some reason, wherever you're at, or it's very seldom, there you go. It's seldom, but it happens, right? So, this is why we recommend having something like this, so you can tuck it up very tightly, pack it away in deep inside your everyday carry kit, or your bag, your backpack, your messenger bag, etc. All right. So that kind of brings up a point of when it comes to, like we mentioned, hurricanes, tornadoes, and blizzards, right? This idea of bugging out, really, we want to just take a step back off the edge, guys, and talk about it as an evacuation. You will have to evacuate. Prepping to evacuate is not necessarily a bad thing. You know what I mean? Like, uh, we'll get into that. We'll get into that, but we just want to mention that now, guys. Right? This kind of weather doesn't require you to bug out. It just requires you to layer up. You know. So, it also pressure tests perhaps your home or your vehicle. You know, if you notice any leaks where water is seeped in and you've got some damaged seals, etc. Um, but yeah, the weather pressure tests the environment, as I've heard it said. So we're going to cover evacuation a bit later, all right? But as far as a real urban EDC kit, getting back to our topic, the next thing we're going to mention is having that portable battery, having that rechargeable bank for cell phones, tablets, etc. You can recharge other devices, possibly like your AirPods. We recommend the kind that are integrated, where you plug it directly into the wall to recharge, and it has built-in cables for both iPhone and Android or Thunderbolt, as it's called, and it has ports. All right. The only thing it doesn't have is a light, and so the saying two is one, one is none. What we highly recommend is getting a second portable bank with you that is rechargeable, but has a flashlight or lamp built into it. All right. So portable battery. That's definitely our next item here for our EDC kit. All right, guys. And then up next here, we recommend a very small Swiss Army knife, keychain size. You really just need it for the scissors. All right, the knife can sharpen pencils. It can pierce, but a lot of times you just need to cut, and the scissors are really the best tool for that on that Swiss Army knife. Get it in black. Put it on your keychain. All right. We recommend that over any kind of knife. Any kind of knife, really. We do recommend a multi-tool. We recommend the sliding style, not the butterfly style, because you want to be able to leverage or pry things open. Sometimes you need to be able to apply pressure to pry things open, and you need to be able to exert force on the handle of those pliers in a way that the butterfly style won't let you do, unless it's some kind of locking style. There's a specific Gerber one for flying that has a removable non-metallic saw blade that can be replaced with miter saw blades. It has scissors on it as well, but we still recommend also getting the small Swiss Army knife. Okay. In addition to these multi-tools, but every now and then you're going to need this multi-tool, the plier. This is the one to get, especially if you also fly. All right. You got to be travel ready. You got to be ready, or to ditch, right? You got to be ready to ditch stuff if you're flying, and you don't want to have to be replacing $50, $60 Swiss Army knives every time. You don't need it. In the city, you're going to need the scissors. All right, it's going to come down to that. Maybe the tweezers. Okay. But firearms are definitely going to complicate this, and we're going to talk about that more later. But being travel ready, mobility is part of modern urban everyday life. It's going to be part of your preparedness and survival in modern urban everyday life. You can. What if you need to? What if you need to be mobile, right? That's why our line 1 is concealed on us at all times, right? We have up to $10,000 in available resources on us at any given moment, right? For a real emergency, to handle a real emergency. And a real emergency is a disruption to your normal pattern of life, right? So this is your line 2. This is your everyday carry bag that we're discussing here, And so these items would be in there, obviously. Now, when it comes to hydration, one thing we also want to mention here is that modern urban everyday life, even preparedness, you should be accounting for resupply. We're not planning for the apocalypse where we're maybe having to barter in silver and gold. We're talking about what happens if you need to get across town or across the country. Okay, so you're going to be able to resupply. And so what we mean by that specifically is buying the reusable metallic bottles of water. I don't know if they're aluminum or what. I think they might be. Um, uh, Look for those the next time you're at a convenience store. These are really reusable. You can actually reuse these way more than the plastic. We should try to be avoiding these plastics apparently anyways. Okay. Um, but obviously this metal is ideal. Okay, the metal's the way to go. This is what we recommend because it's on one hand disposable, on second hand replaceable, and obviously refillable. You know what I mean? So this is the way to go for hydration. You know, if you want to get some other kind of third party thing or style, that's whatever. But this is way more um, simpler. This is way simpler. Okay, most of the time you can go to a 7-Eleven and find these metal water bottles. Okay, so obviously if not, the plastic's fine, but uh, having a dedicated container, that's gonna be up to you. Um, that's gonna be up to you. It's not something we're particularly caught up on, to be honest with you. Okay. And because also too, if you have the metal one, at least if somehow SHTF, right, then for sure, you've got your refillable container. Um, always have one on you though. Either way though, you're gonna want to have that hydration on you. Refillable. All right. So what else goes in the kit? Right, we mentioned the light. All right, now the other thing we want to mention is a headlamp. Okay, uh, if you want to do the small round flashlight with the beveled edge, that's also used for self defense. Totally fine as well there. Okay, in fact, that's what that would probably be the top. That's what you want to go for. If you've got all three, if you've got the headlamp, you've got the portable battery, rechargeable battery. That's also got a lamp. That has a light on it, not a beam, but a lamp. Okay, and then the handheld beam. That's also for the self defense. Your trifecta on the lights. All right. Highly recommend write in the rain notepads, guys. This size right here. Okay, because it's not for the reason you think. All right, trust me, it's not for the reason you think. Um, Not so you can sit in the rain and write poetry or or EDC manuals, right, guys? This is so when you write notepads and hand these notepads off to people, people stuff them in their pockets, and then they walk. If you have a grocery list in your pocket and you're walking, right, and you're sweating, guess what? That sweat's gonna affect your note. So that's the reason we recommend write in the rain notepads. Of course, you're gonna want to have a ballpoint pen, and actually, we're getting more fond of pencils, especially the more we write in these. All right, so another another item we might recommend. Okay, this is not a necessity, but it's a consideration because it does add size to your pack. Is a slim document binder. All right, this thing opens up. You can store papers in here. Sometimes you got to store documents, depending on your job. Other daily or civilian life tasks that require documents, like things for the government. We'll say DMV, for example. Those things can be protected, and they're not just flopping around in your bag, especially if you're not used to carrying paper around. So this is just something you get at Staples, Office Max, whatever. We recommend that. All right, serves as a nice little writing surface as well. Okay, guys, the next we want you to consider hygiene and grooming. All right. So what does this consist of? Expendable items that you can get at the travel section. All right, your toothbrushes. All right, etc. Right? There's certain things you want to be able to just pick up at the store like that. I know it's a little like fast use, you know what I mean? But you don't want to have too much of that stuff on you, really. But however, this is a list of items we do recommend that you actually have in your kit on an everyday basis. All right, you're gonna want wet wipes and lip balm. All right, you're gonna want band-aids, and then you're gonna want to consider deodorant and or cologne. Probably both, actually. And again, this is because daily travel, commuting, you know, those are the considerations. Even if you're in an emergency that you want to be able to manage, right, in modern urban everyday life, not in SHTF apocalypse scenario, guys, but in emergency scenarios, emergencies. We're talking about emergency, guys. Pattern disruptions to your everyday life. And sometimes that can be like the closing of a subway station, for example. Like you have to get off a stop early or a stop late and walk an additional way. Things like that, you know? Things like that happen all the time in the city. All right? So, however, if you do get stuck overnight somewhere, 24, 48, 72 hour style, right? That's the kind of thing we're thinking here with the EDC. The EDC kit is your get home bag. That's another thing we say here. Your EDC kit is your get home bag in emergency situations. So you do want to have that certain base level. This is our base level of like preparedness, everyday preparedness. All right. Um, Sunglasses and a watch, guys. Sunglasses for sure, just for convenience, but also to blend in and for concealment. Bonus if they're ballistic. Bonus if you can find the sunglasses that are actually, bulletproof. We'll say. And then the watch. The watch is a nice touch. You want just a simple. You don't want to go all crazy on the watch here, guys. This is not even on the. I'll trade you a Rolex for a car. Not you're not. I don't think we're there. Good luck with that. Most people will trade you your Rolex or your life right now. So, um, yeah. Now if you got 15,000 in but Bitcoin, you wanna send someone over for a car. That makes sense, right? You can do it that way. That's the more realistic. Of course, what you're going to be doing. Gosh, we're not advocating breaking any laws here, guys. But yeah, definitely not advocating that. We're talking about prepping for life, well under the rule of law. Well under the rule of law. That's what we're prepping for. Everyday modern urban life. And yes, that does mean in the midst of rising crime, right? In the midst of all kinds of unprecedented stuff. Uh, that's exactly what we're talking about. We want to be prepared for that. So this is where we're going. So stick with me, guys. All right, because now we're talking about uncommon events, right? And again, this is in the realm of establishing a baseline, right? You establish a baseline of what is your real everyday life actually amount to if you were to sit here and think about it right now. What do you do on a daily basis? What is you have your pattern, your routine, where are you going to and coming from, etc., right? So that's your baseline. All right. And so the more we drift into preparing for uncommon and rare events, the more we want to remind you that whatever you use on a daily basis, that really is prepping. Because you want, if you need something on a daily basis, right? You want to make sure you're prepared for that. Okay? And also having what you need on you in a minimalist way, as we're discussing here, right? Means you are prepared at any day, at any moment. Okay? Because uncommon events do bring up the idea of evacuations. And some of you might think, well, bugging out. I'm not calling it that. All right? We're talking about uncommon events that might require you to evacuate. All right? Uncommon events, these are emergencies and disaster scenarios, right? That we should be truly actually preparing for. These are your hurricane level events, your flood events, your major fire events, your tornadoes. Now, there would also include man-made disasters like train derailments and chemical spills, right? If you need to evacuate your area, whatever the reason is, you need to evacuate, all right? And it's safe to evacuate, right? There's a difference between, well, you got to evacuate, but even if you evacuate, there's no guarantee. I mean, that's a true SHTF scenario where you're not even safe outside, with nowhere to go. That's we don't want to get lost in the sauce over that, guys. All right, we're bringing it back to prepping for everyday life and the most likely kinds of emergencies. All right, so of course everything again ranges in frequency and intensity, right? Obviously, though, these are a step above, a grade above more catastrophic, more dangerous events. All right, common events are daily occurrences and minor inconveniences. That's what we're talking about when we say common events. When we talk about uncommon events, these are categorical disruptions to daily routine. Okay, they have the capacity to be violent, traumatic, and even deadly. Uncommon events require intermediate to advanced equipment and skill sets to remedy. All right, here are a list of uncommon events for what most people would actually really think of as emergencies, and that's how we want you to think of them. These are emergencies that are above and outside your everyday prep, right? This is fire, car accidents, flooding, hurricanes, tornadoes, dust storms, haboobs, also known as earthquakes, power outages, chemical spills, right? Things of that nature. Uncommon events are natural disasters or man-made disasters, right? Severe weather, industrial accidents, infrastructure damage, severe disruptions, excuse me, but not catastrophic. These actually are ironically what most preppers, what we should be prepping for. All right, but we don't focus on this. These are less fun or interesting to game out, right? It's less fun to think about. Oh gosh, well, if there was a hurricane, I guess we'd know it was coming, and we'd have 24 to 48 hours to actually evacuate. And yeah, we might have to sit in traffic for 12 of those hours, but you know, like you did it, and you went 2 towns over, or you know, whatever. Wherever, however many miles it takes to go to another city, or you know, there's there are things which you have less time to prepare for, like fires, right? So prepping, that's why prepping for this is a whole different level, you know. We will say this: you'll be buying more expensive gear, but it's rarely going to be used, right? You have to, but it's life saving when you need it. That's the thing about this next level, right, of preparedness. So you don't want to overextend yourself trying to acquire these things first, right? You want to make sure you have a solid EDC, make sure you have a solid line one, make sure you have a solid, cash, crypto, and credit line, to really like set aside to really weather that storm, weather any kind of emergency, you know, and then you start considering things like this, right? And then, because let's be honest, right? If you have that line one locked in and very little, at your apartment, what most evacuation kits end up being, yeah, they're like these bug out bags that's got food and water and a little bit more creature comforts and stuff, you know, and batteries and things like that to last you. But it can add up, right? So prioritize this by usefulness and budget, right? So we're gonna recommend going with medical first. So you want to get a bleeding control kit at the very minimum, IFACs, etc., that kind of stuff. Those things can get expensive real quick. We recommend just a bleeding control kit. Start with that. Start with a bleeding control kit that can help one gunshot. That's the baseline. Okay, if you can deal with multiple gunshots after that, that's great. But if everybody had at least one on them, and we were all able to, that's the kind of level of preparedness we need as a nation. That's where we're trying to. Uh, that's the kind of impact and influence we're trying to have. If everyone had a bleeding control kit, and there were no, well, we'll save that for later. But, gosh, back to our story here, guys. Back to our writing. Yeah, the bleeding control kit. That's really that's important. The other uncommon item for preppers that are realistic for an everyday kit, because we're still talking about an everyday carry here, guys. So adding that bleeding control kit to your everyday carry bag is what we're saying. And then we also highly suggest a respirator mask, either from Parcel or Mira, I believe. One of those companies, one of those masks. This is really going to help you with fires, with infrastructure stuff. If there is a chemical spill, I know it seems crazy, but having one of these masks on you, I mean, if you were, let's just look at 9/11, right? And all of the dust in the air and all of that. Remember the fires that happened up in Canada, and then all the smoke was in New York City, right? So having one of these masks is actually, you want to add this to your everyday carry kit for uncommon events. Now, one thing we'll say about everyday carry, right, is it's a trade-off of weight, capacity, and capability. So that means you're going to want to always take into consideration the fact that you might not need this stuff, but it's like the difference between a real, useful, true kind of preparedness kit, right? And just having stuff on you that makes you feel good, You want everything in here to actually have a purpose and be used. And yes, the frequency, that's why it's called uncommon events. It's very uncommon for you to need a respirator mask or a bleeding control kit. But if you come across a car accident, that bleeding control kit can also help save a life. If you're all of a sudden in the middle of a fire, that respirator mask can help save your life. And fires are fairly, well, they're uncommon, but they're not, way more likely you're going to be around a fire than you're going to be around a terrorist attack. I mean, just think about it. How much more frequently fires happen? We have a fire department, right? Yes, well, you understand what I'm saying here. Especially the car accidents, right? That's probably the most uncommon event is a car accident. But that's the prepper's dilemma. It will always come down to capacity and capability. All right, so urban preppers should not bog themselves down with lots of small and cheap items that can be purchased easily. That's another thing we were saying about having, the ability to just go to Walgreens, CVS, and pick up stuff from the travel section, right? Presupposing resupply. Forgo a lot of other creature comforts as part of your everyday carry. We gave you our list of recommendations. You wanna leave the capacity and weight for the uncommon items. So if it comes down to, that's why you don't want to have the toothbrush and the mouthwash and I don't give me that. Give me the I'd rather have the respirator and I'd rather have the respirator and the bleeding control kit instead. You know what I mean? Minimal requires mobility. Or I should say real urban EDC is more minimal because of mobility, right? It's all going to triangulate between capacity, capability, and weight. You don't want a burdensome kit. You want a kit that you can carry. These uncommon events push the boundaries of what an urban EDC can reasonably handle, though, because once you add the bleeding control kit and the respirator, most backpacks, most like 24, I think 24-liter bags are kind of at their start hitting like that 80% capacity point, 90% capacity point. And also that weight burden, right? Because you want something you're gonna commute with every day. If you gotta commute on foot, hop on the subway, whatever, hop on the train, the rail, the cable car. You got to carry that backpack or that shoulder bag and walk. Weight on a daily basis does become an issue. So now there is a necessity to augment your EDC, right, when it does come to evacuations, right? Because you're kind of at the limit of what a reasonable everyday carry bag can hold, can do, and weighs, right? Uncommon but semi-regular events like annual severe weather patterns makes evacuation preparedness easy to understand. Meaning, now we're talking about having an evacuation kit, a separate kit, a bug-out kit, if you want to call it that. All right, so what goes in that kind of kit? Well, first of all, for that kind of kit, we recommend a storm-proof case. Something that is not just waterproof, but that's going to like float. Because you want something that's hurricane and flood proof. Now, what it's not going to be is fireproof. But those storm-proof cases, like the Pelican, like the SKB case, right, the Gator case, those do give you mobility in that they have the extendable handle and the wheels. All right, so we would recommend that in an evacuation kit over we recommend that. We recommend the Pelicans. We recommend the Pelicans. Get a used Pelican over a suitcase. All right. Stormproof box. All right. What are you gonna want to have there? You're gonna want to have there clean water and food. We're talking about having a 5-gallon jug of water in this kit. Okay, and a bag of rice and beans, small bag of rice and beans, and other kinds of emergency food, not snacks, but food, okay? Because this is the kind of thing you might have to take and live out of in a motel room for a week, certainly a few days. All right. Emergency radio, clean clothes, right? Boots, shoes, and socks in there. You want to have this way, no matter what, it's literally an evacuation kit. If it was like you only had 5 minutes to grab everything, well, you've got, this thing already prepared, right? Sleeping bag, blankets, maybe a pad in case you have to sleep on the ground. Soap, towel, camping stove and cookware, batteries, flashlights, lamps, okay? That is the kind of evacuation kit, a bug out kit we do recommend having on standby. That's like in a closet somewhere, something to that effect, all right? Something you can like take downstairs, right? Take downstairs, throw in the truck, or to take with you on the street, walk with it for miles if you had to, right? That's gonna come in real handy if you have to evacuate on foot in the city, is having that rolling bag and having something that's tough. And that's why those Pelican cases and stuff like that's the way to go. All right. Also, look into getting dry sacks, right, in case the water leaks. You want to have everything nested and separated in bags with the clothes and everything packed, so if that water bottle does leak, it doesn't ruin everything in there. All right, you don't want to deal with that. But also, you need to secure the water. Don't secure the bag, secure the water. Make sure you've got some adequate padding around that water bottle. All right. All right. So finally, we'll talk about rare events. All right. This is man-made violence. This is what most, content on preparedness focuses on. It's kind of the sexiest, right? Range of frequency and intensity varies, right? Street violence, random acts of violence, terrorism, right? Sleeper cells, rioting, looting, civil disobedience, gang activity, social unrest. That's what we're talking about here. Active shooters, right? These are rare events. They still happen, but the level of preparedness and skill set here is like through the roof, right? Like this is so far above baseline to prepare for. It's its whole other category here. Again, if you can't be armed, be armored. Urban environments tend to be the most restrictive against firearms. Therefore, to truly be prepared against gunshots or being stabbed is to bulletproof everything. All right, guys. So, what does the ultimate rare event urban loadout kit consist of? Well, first of all, it consists of thin, concealed, bulletproof vest or clothing. All right, they have bulletproof clothing. They have shirts, they have jackets, they have hoodies, they have other things to be worn on top that are bulletproof, that have bulletproof protection. Not rifle rated, but certainly handgun rated. All right, so either get a thin, concealable vest that can be worn underneath your everyday clothing, right? Or get everyday clothing that's bulletproof. You gotta understand now why to truly be prepared for this kind of stuff. It's a whole different level, right? To be truly prepared, meaning if you are sitting there drinking your coffee in the city and someone comes up to you and shoots you randomly, how do you survive that? How do you prepare for that? The only way to prepare for that is to be bulletproof. And you better hope they shoot and aim somewhere bulletproof. And so along with that also goes active in-ear protection, active in-ear hearing protection, Axle, right? That's what you need on an everyday basis if you really want to be prepared for SHTF. You need in-ear active hearing protection and a thin bulletproof vest. Okay? And you better have those ballistic grade sunglasses or lenses in your glasses. All right? If this sounds like PPE, it's because it is. Ears and eyes. All right? You're also going to need lace-up boots or shoes. All right? And to round out this ultimate rare event urban loadout kit, you're going to need a bulletproof vehicle. You're going to need a bulletproof vehicle. You really want to be prepared for SHTF in the city, in modern urban everyday life, for these rare events. If you really want to be prepared, that's what you need. You need to bulletproof everything. You need a thin, concealable, bulletproof vest or clothing. You need active in-ear hearing protection. You need ballistic grade glasses or sunglasses. You need lace-up boots or shoes. And the bulletproof vehicle, guys. Surviving the modern urban environment is active self-defense. To establish any kind of realistic protection in a modern urban everyday environment, you need this level of protection. So there it is, guys. Thanks for sticking with us to the end. I put this all together in memory of a friend who was the victim of a random act of violence in the city just last week. So it inspired me to finally put this all together and get it out. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please like and subscribe. See you on the next one. Thank you.